How you doing? Homestead Ed here. Today I'm going to build a rocket stove, and I'm going to take the most simple approach to this. I'm going to build a rocket stove out of using a spackle bucket. This is going to be my form for it. Some 4-inch PVC, and I'm going to make a mixture of vermiculite and concrete. Now I've been investigating this, and they say that you should use about 80% vermiculite to 20% concrete, and that way you're forming, rather than just having a concrete mass that might break when the heat comes in there, you make it more of like a fire brick. So that's what we're going to try to do today. So let me get going here. I'm just going to use some simple tools. I have a chop box, which I did a couple of practice chops. It's a little difficult to get through the 4-inch PVC. We're going to do that though. And we're going to cut this in a 45-degree angle. I'm going to use a jigsaw and a drill, and that's it. That's all the tools I need. I've got my vermiculite, I've got my concrete, so we're pretty good to go. The most important part about this though is you want to make your chimney 3 times higher than your firebox. So what I'm using here is 4-inch in diameter PVC, so my chimney is going to be 12-inch. If you do that, that's going to give you the proper airflow. So let me get to work. I'm going to shut off the camera for a second. We'll turn it back on and I'll show you how it's going. So as you can see by this big mess I got down here, it's not very easy to cut this 4-inch PVC using a chop box. The chop box can't cut all the way through it. And I've been trying a couple different things. I tried cutting it out with the jigsaw. No good. Finally figured it out. So basically what you want to do is turn it on a 45 one way, make your cut, and then you're going to line up your cut here. Turn it the other direction and line up your cut here down at the bottom there and cut through. And there we got it. I mean, it's still not perfect, but this is going to do. So I've got my one piece cut out here on a 45. Got this piece, I'll just trim this off. 2 pieces will meet. This is going to be my firebox, and this is going to be my chimney. So I have my PVC cut, and now I need to cut a hole in that bucket there to fit the PVC into. And I'm thinking the best way to do this, if I hold this PVC up to the bucket, I can't trace out a good circle, you know. So I'm thinking the best way to do this is I'm going to put it on this piece of paper, trace it, cut out the circle, and then I can hold it onto the bucket here, make a line, I'll drill a hole and cut it out with a jigsaw. I'm going to leave a couple inches. I'm going to make it the bottom of the circle starting like maybe 2 inches off the bottom of the bucket, just because I want something underneath there to keep it nice and strong. Well, here we go. I got my circle drawn on here. I drilled a couple holes in here. Now I'm going to cut this out with the jigsaw. My camera lady's on strike right now, so I can't really hold the camera and cut it out with the jigsaw at the same time for you. So I'm going to put the camera down, I'll cut it out, and then I'll show you how it looks. My hole's cut out. You can see this piece is going to slide in here, right there. And I'm going to bring that to about the center, you know, so that right where the 90-degree is will be the center of the bucket. And then this piece is going to be my chimney. It's going to sit on top of it. I'm going to take these pieces as well as the bucket. I'm going to spray it with some lubricant. Just some spray lubricant to try to help it come out easier when I have to pull these out after I set the, well, I was going to say concrete, but it's more going to be like a fire brick. It's going to be 80% of that vermiculite and only 20% concrete. I'm doing this because I don't want it to crack. If I did it just with concrete, and I tried this, I did it before with cinder blocks, and the cinder blocks cracked. I saw this online. It looks good. I think it's going to work good. So let me get busy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get this. I'm going to mix up some of that vermiculite with concrete in another bucket, and then I'll spray this stuff down, and then I'll show you it going together. I decided I was going to go with a 60% vermiculite to 40% concrete mix. Now the videos I saw on this said 80% vermiculite, but to me that just sounds like too much. So I'm going with 60. So for every can of cement I put in, I'll put in 3 cans of vermiculite, and we'll see how it goes. Might be wrong, may not be the best idea in the world, but that's what I'm going with. 1 can of cement, 3 cans of vermiculite. We're going to add some water, mix this up. We're not going to make it super wet, you know, and then we're going to start putting together our rocket stove. I made my mix. Don't add too much water. I make it like the consistency of peanut butter. It's basically what I do with everything. I put a little bit on the bottom there. I greased everything down. I sprayed that lubricant on the bucket and on this firebox tube. And now I put a little bit in there. I'm going to damp that down a bit. I'm going to put my chimney tube in there and add the rest of what I made here and damp it down good. And then I'll have to make up another bucket, I'm sure, maybe 2, and fill this up to the top. And then it's just a matter of letting it cure. Let me get this chimney in there, damp it all down, and then I'll show you what we're going to do to cure it. I've got my concrete / vermiculite mixture in there. I really damped it down good. You know, I packed it in there good. So I don't want any air pockets or anything. But it's looking good. I'm going to let that set up for a couple hours while I clean up this big mess I made over here in the workshop. And then I'm going to remove these 2 pieces of PVC. And you want this to cure slowly. So after I remove the PVC, I'm going to put it in a big black garbage bag, tie up the bag, and let it sit for a few days. Cure nice and slow. And after, I don't know, 4 or 5 days, I'll take it out of the garbage bag and I'll let it cure another 3 weeks before I remove it from the bucket and light a fire. That's all it is to it. In a few weeks, I'll show you a beautiful fire and nice, easy to build homemade rocket stove. Well, thanks for watching.